Hey folks, welcome to another live stream, and I apologize about getting this started. There was a problem with the camera. I'm not sure what this streaming thing always seems fraught with more problems than anything else, but that's okay because I believe I am on. So folks, I'm going to be answering questions. I'm getting ready to go to Board Game Geek Con, getting my suitcases chock full of games to play and clothes, of course, to wear and things like that. We'll be leaving early tomorrow morning and getting there on Tuesday, and we'll be there from Tuesday to Sunday. So if you guys have any questions to ask, just go ahead and ask them on the thing. As always, I will not answer everything. Asking something multiple times ensures it will never be answered. Some questions I've answered in previous Q&As, so I may not answer them this time. And I also will only answer questions that have come out since I've started doing this. So, can I give you more hints about the Sheriff of Nottingham expansions? I can't really at this point in time because some redevelopment has gone into that. And so when it's farther along the line, I can tell you more about that as it comes by. Top 10 drinks. Well, I don't actually... See, I'm assuming by that you mean beverages, because I actually don't drink alcoholic beverages. Let me come back to that one. That's actually an interesting thing. Well, probably number one is probably, in every circumstance, sweet tea. You just cannot argue with sweet tea. But number two is an Arnold Palmer with unsweet tea / lemonade. 3 would be cherry limeade. 4 would be root beer. Red cream soda. Red cream soda. Then 5 would be root beer. I think we'll go with my top 5. Well, 6 would be a good fresh cup of limeade or lemonade. They're essentially the same thing. 7 would be raspberry tea. Okay, now I'm going to stop. I guess 8 would be orange cream soda. I really do like orange cream soda. Okay. Let's see here. Are we still going to Origins, given how close to Dice Tower Con it is? As of 2016, we are planning to go to Origins. I cannot make that assumption every year about any convention. It is close to, Origins is close to, I guess it is pretty close to Dice Tower Con, but they're very different beasts at this point in time, so yes. Do I still enjoy new game smell? I don't know, maybe. I will say that a pack of a CCG pack still brings back memories when you open it. You're like, And the other day I opened, what was it? The bottom of the ninth from T.I.M.E Games, and inside they have this strip that made to look like gum. And when I saw it, I almost threw it in my mouth. I remember that opening baseball card pack. It's very nostalgic. As for new game smell, no, I get over that pretty quickly, I think. Have there been any Christian books that have really impacted you? Well, there's the novel a long time ago really impacted me. It was 70 times 70. The Body by Chuck Swindoll. Grace. Amazing Grace, I believe also. I forget who wrote that one. That was good. Those are 3 that come to mind initially. What do you think will be the hottest game this holiday season? Well, I think it is probably... It's hard to tell what the hottest game is because I don't know. But it is likely Codenames because it's very cheap, or Pandemic Legacy, or T.I.M.E Stories because the hype behind those is very small. Although there's a huge backlash from a very vocal minority, I think, but against T.I.M E Stories. And it's also very expensive. So I think Codenames would win out there just because of the price point of it. It's a pretty good deal. Yes, I did see that the Arcadia Quest new Kickstarter has started. So we'll have to see how well that does. I'm sure it will do well. Do I feel that there's any gaps in gaming podcasts right now? Any subjects deserving of a series that it's not getting? Well, I don't think there's any subject not covered. In fact, most podcasts are really kind of retreads, right? They're really just some guys getting together to talk about games. Hey, we'll tell you about some games we played. We'll come up with a couple segments. And it really is run-of-the-mill for a lot of these podcasts. I mean, what are they offering that's different? There's a couple, and an intriguing one was the, I think it was Start Space podcast, where they basically coming in the hobby as noobs. But the thing is, in 2 years, that shtick is gone because they won't even have that anymore. You become a veteran in this hobby pretty quickly. You kind of go from newbie to experienced player to veteran to curmudgeon. I remember way back 7 years ago. And that sort of thing happens. There's a guy, I've been playing games my whole life when we were kids. And you're like, oh, here we go again. It's just as annoying as hearing your grandfather walk to school uphill both ways. It's the exact same thing as, when you hear about these guys who didn't have 600 games and had to translate the German themselves and had to, they had one die that they passed around a table and all that jazz. Okay, we're glad that you suffered through life. Let us live in our glory now. Do you know how large the Dice Tower Con waiting list currently is? I do not. That's an automated process at this point in time, and I don't have access to that. And I don't really want to know really what the waiting list is. I hope that everybody who wants to come can come. I'm just very pleased that next year that should be the case. If we sell it next year, then I don't know what we'll do. That would be very surprising, I think. Oh, but for Gaps in Gaming Podcast, I'm sorry, I wanted to go back to that. Yes, I do think that we could use more of a younger perspective. There's not many younger perspectives. And also more female perspectives. And I think I'd like to hear a podcast that's led by an alpha female gamer. That'd be pretty cool. As opposed to, hi, I'm the spouse of so-and-so, and I'm also the co-host on the show. That's not a bad thing, but I'd like to see one where the driving force behind the podcast was a female. How different is your collection from year to year? It changes. It just varies from time to time. I look at my collection sometimes in old videos, and I think, woof, man, some of those games that I was keeping then I got rid of. So I do switch out games all often. Tom, why will you play Blood Rage but not Kingdom Death Monster? They're both eschatological and violent games. The only difference is being the vividness of Kingdom Death Monster. Well, that is not the only difference. The main reason I won't play Kingdom Death Monster has nothing to do with the pinup models that they put up, which I thought was kind of weird, or the incredibly high price point, which I don't really like. Those are certainly factors. But the number one thing is there's like humongous piles of sprues in a box. I'm done playing miniature games. You want me to play a miniature game? You give them to me put together. In this day and age, there's no excuse not to. Cool Mini or Not is doing it. The Fantasy Flight is doing it. All these companies are coming out with their plastic miniatures already in the box. And that is why I know people keep asking, when are you going to review Shadows of Brimstone? Probably never. Someone borrowed it from me to put together the miniatures. That never happened. Okay, so I'm not putting them together, and I don't want to put them together. Miniature building is a fun hobby for many people. It is not the hobby I'm in. I'm in board gaming. So Kingdom Death with all these tiny sprues and everything, also it's a really long gameplay and time. The story just doesn't really intrigue me that much, so I'm just really not intrigued with that. Blood Rage, on the other hand, is a fun multiplayer game that takes an hour. I don't really see how you can compare them unless you're talking about theme. The violent theme, I wasn't really opposed to the violent Kingdom Death, although I will say that the monsters in Kingdom Death are horrific looking. If you look at them, they're like creepy things that keep you awake at night. But again, it's those sprues. Do you... Almost answered that one by accident. Okay. I'm curious about your desire to grow the hobby. I understand being welcoming and inclusive to those who are curious, but why do we need to actively grow the hobby? Don't we have enough games? I don't care how many games we have. I'm looking for gamers. I would love it if everyone played games. Again, I don't care if people do not wish to play games. That's not something they would like to do. That's fine, and I would never push it on someone who didn't. I'm not trying to actively, like, are you sure you don't like games? Are you sure you don't like games? I'm talking about the vast majority of people who have never really played a game that was anything other than Monopoly or Scrabble. And many of those people, when they play games for the first time, get enthralled. And then they're people that I can play games with. Why would I not want to expand the pool of people that I can play games with? Why would I not want to share something? To me, it's the same thing as, I mean, it's not as strong as obviously wanting me to grow and tell people about God. But let's say I find a new pizza place in town. I would want to tell everyone I know about it, like, hey, this pizza place is amazing. That's what I would do with board games. And it kind of mind boggles me that people are like, well, I'm happy. Well, that's good that you're content. I'm not. I want to see more people playing board games. I heard you're going to the UK Games Expo. What are you expecting? We don't know what to expect. Me and Sam will be going to the UK Games Expo this coming June. We waffled on a bit because it was pretty close to Origins, and we'll be going there, then Origins, then Dice Tower Con. But I've always wanted to go to the United Kingdom. It's like on my bucket list of things to do. I would love to go to London at least once. There's other places I'd like to go in England too, and Scotland, and etc. I don't think we'll have time to do all that. What am I expecting? I'm expecting a good time because I've never been to a bad board game convention. Will we be recording a playthrough of the Marcy case? Yes, we have actually already played through part of it. I can't tell you how much we've gotten through it because that might be spoiler-ishy for now. But suffice it to say, we really are enjoying the second case. It was not like the first case at all. Had some surprises and stuff. I will say that I think Sam is enjoying it much more than the first case. For me, it's about the same, but I'm really enjoying kind of just a change of pace. And the genre that it's in, this is my favorite game of that genre. Hands down. What expansions in Tuscany would you recommend using my first game of Viticulture this coming Wednesday? So if you're playing Viticulture for the first time, I would not play many of the expansions. I would play Mamas and Papas because that gives you some different starting things, and whatever you pick for Mamas and Papas isn't going to be a bad thing. It's not going to throw your whole game off. And then I might just play from there, but then I would instantly add everything else in. If I was there teaching, I would probably throw everything in the kitchen sink in because I don't think it's that difficult, but that's what I would add. How many review copies do you get a day or a week on average? Well, that's just different. There's no real good average. It would be too difficult to tell. There's always stuff showing up in the mail consistently. Packages come every day. Sometimes they're review copies, sometimes they're other things. Never quite sure what's coming in the mail. I don't really keep track of any sort of averages. Did the Five Tribes expansion change your opinion on the game? Yeah, I think I like it a little bit better now. I really like the expansion. I like the idea of going for these special artifacts. There was something about that's my style. Is that kind of push your luck? Ooh, will I get something really good or not? I really like that addition to the game. I don't know. I found the game okay. Now I like it. I think that's where it would change. That expansion changed it for me. I wouldn't say that I love it or I'm asking to play it, but I liked it with the expansion. How family unfriendly is T.I.M.E Stories? Well, I think it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. I'll tell you this. The first one I thought was very dark. Just a really heavy, spooky, dark theme with some kind of violent things and some stuff in it occasionally. I would say it's PG-13, pretty hard PG-13. In regards to just how dark it is. That would be my biggest concern. The second one is more gore, right? Would you let your kids watch The Walking Dead? That would be where that would be at, right then and there. But it's more of an adventure thing. The third one is fantasy. I don't know what that one's like. It looks like that one will be family friendly. I'm hoping so because I really want to play this with my kids. Will we be doing a live show at the UK Games Expo? I do not know. It is possible, but I haven't really solidified what we're doing there exactly. All we know at this point is, hey, we're coming. Do you worry that your board game habits are too different from your viewers so that it skews your perspective? Like we go through hundreds of games a year and you might get to one every 1 or 2 months. That's quite possible. I think the role of any reviewer is going to be skewed by the vast amount of experience they have. I would hope that that vast amount of experience will skew things towards the better. My goal is for you to watch as many of my reviews to find the one game you're like, wow, that's the game that we want to play. Any holiday gaming traditions that your family holds to? Well, you know, growing up, we used to play party games every New Year's Eve all the way up to midnight. Party game, party game, party game. Had a great time doing that. Now I started shooting fireworks off instead, so I think I'm enjoying that more. We'll be doing a review of Fury of Dracula 3rd edition. That will be coming out after BGG Con. We have it all ready to go, basically. Is Baseball Highlights 2045 a good introductory game for my dad who wants to get into the hobby of board games? He's a sports nerd. I think it's very possible that that would work for him, although there's going to be Android and robot players, but the theme of baseball is still pretty strong. I would try it. Do you have any games in your collection that you've kept that you have not played? Well, I'm assuming you're not counting my shelf of games to be reviewed, and in that case, the answer is no. I play the games in my collection. Now, obviously, I have shelves of games to review, and I've not played those. But once I play those, they go into my collection, or they do not. How much does it cost for you to use store space for your board game group? It does not cost us anything. I try to encourage them to buy things from the store that we go and play at. I think that if they did charge us, the last store we were at charged, I think, $5 a night, maybe, or $3 a night. But then you could use that money if when you bought a game and it would come off it. So it was really charging us nothing. I didn't mind that, but a lot of people did. I'm really surprised sometimes at how some people will really balk. They'll be like, I ain't paying $3 to play games, they say, over their $20 meal. I've always found that sort of thing odd to me. I would certainly be willing to pay for space, but our current place does not charge us. Will Sam or Z ever do their own live Q&As? Oh, that's very possible. It just happens that Monday is usually the best day for me to do them, and they both work at home on Mondays. But you'll probably see more from them in the future. What's the best way to get to play a board game with you at next year's Dice Tower Con? Be at the right place at the right time. Really. With as many people as come to Dice Tower Cons, we have 1,500 people. There's no way I can play a game with 1,500 people. And in fact, last year I didn't play many games at Dice Tower Con at all. I was too busy running different events. I will try to run a few fewer events this year, or at least get people to help me run these events. So hopefully that will calm things down, but you just got to be at the right place at the right time. What are the chances of Dice Tower getting a Roku channel? Probably none. I've looked into it, and I don't see the benefits that would outweigh the immense costs, time, effort it would take us to put into it. Do you feel Inhabit the Earth is too similar to Evolution for both to be in a collection? They're really not similar at all. Evolution's all about, hey, I need to get food, feed these things, I'll eat you if I have to, and you're kind of really going at the other players. Inhabit the Earth is more of a race-style game. They have very similar themes, but they don't have a similar gameplay. I would try both. I personally like Inhabit the Earth better. I apologize for this silence as I look at these, but I'm trying not to say, well, let's see here. What are you having for Thanksgiving dinner? Are you doing the cooking? Well, I gotta be careful here, because the last time I said this, someone came by and yelled and said, I can't believe you Americans fry everything, because I said I was frying a turkey. Frying a turkey, if you've never had it, it's not so much that fried skin or anything, it's just the way that it gets cooked into it. And especially helps if you inject it first. It basically looks like you're giving the turkey steroids. And I make my own sauces that I inject them with. I've injected them with a hot buttery sauce. I've done some garlic teriyaki turkey. It's so good. It's so good. But I'll also be making some dressing. I always pickle eggs. Everyone always laughs at me because they don't understand why anyone would pickle eggs for Thanksgiving. But you should pickle eggs for Thanksgiving. Let's see. I'm thinking about making pickled deviled eggs this year, but I haven't decided yet. That's a bit of work. Always make mashed potatoes, creamy mashed potatoes. I'll make my, last year I made some Cajun corn. I'll do that again. We always make some caramelized carrots. My wife makes sweet potatoes. I told her if she wants those, she has to make them because I think they're putrid and of the devil. We will have rolls and then pies. Pies and pies. I love pies. All right. So that's what we're having for Thanksgiving dinner. I may add a few other things. Fresh asparagus might be something I want to add. Am I the only one who is secretly a little bit happy when a Kickstarter doesn't go smoothly just because I don't want it to be a pre-order system? Look at what pre-orders did to video games. I guess I'm not really on the thing. I didn't know pre-orders did anything to video games. I always hear people talk like this, and I look at the video game hobby, and it's like, it's doing really well. So I guess pre-orders help video games? Yay! I don't really care if a Kickstarter is being used as a pre-order system or not. I want to know if the Kickstarter is going to be run well and give me a game of good quality. That's what I care about. Am I ever planning on coming to South America? I'd like to. I think it'd be interesting to go to South America. If there's a game convention down there, maybe that will happen someday. I just want to say that I really like the new graphics of your reviews. Well, thank you. I'm sure that some people are saying they're not very good. But we're really working hard on this, okay? I am striving. In my spare time, I read up on Final Cut Pro, and I'm trying to learn more and more how to utilize it for different things. I download different modules, and I'm working really hard to try to make everything just look a little better. A couple weeks ago, I went and redid I have different templates for the videos that I do, and I redid my review template. And so Sam and Z just both started using Final Cut Pro, so they're learning too. We're all learning together. These programs are not simple, and it's not like we're going through training because we're learning basically as we go. But I'm hoping that we get better at these things, and I'm a little pleased with some of the stuff that we've done ourselves. And I have some ideas for the future, but we can only add this stuff in a little bit at a time. The next thing I need to do is rebuild Board Game Breakfast at some point. What percentage of the gifts you give are games? Usually 0. I always feel like it's cheesy if I give someone games. I might give someone I don't know very well games, or like distant people. For people I know, I don't give games. My favorite musical. That's a really tough one. I mean, Les Mis is really good. I mean, it's amazing. I like Big, the musical, and I like Seussical, too. Those are ones that don't get as much love, but I think they're both really well done. I think I'll go with those two for now. The Lion King as a musical is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some really good ones. There's a lot that I really enjoy. If you mean on TV, I was giving Broadway. Sorry, they said musical. On TV, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is pretty good. White Christmas is one that I like a lot. Those are both older ones. For modern ones, I don't know. It's a good thing. I do like watching them, though. I do enjoy musicals. Okay. Let's see. Certainly getting a lot of questions here. Remember, if I don't do your questions, it's nothing against you. It just means I'm not really interested in answering that particular question at any point in time. Okay, so what's my interest level in Stronghold 2nd Edition? It is very interesting. I really like to teach that one to Sam and play that one with him. I just haven't yet. I actually have it, but again, it's in our humongous pile of games. Would I ever do a crossover podcast video argument with someone that has totally opposite gaming tastes? I've done that before. I've done it with, I did a crossover with the Game Whisperer, but I found that with Richard Bliss, that's his name, Richard Bliss. I found that it was very engaging, right? We were both very pointed back with our views and stuff. But in person, I found it less interesting. Like, he's not very interested in actually playing games much. Like, at a game convention, I was just at a game convention where he was there, and I think he might have played 1 or 2 games the whole time. And just, I said, hey, you want to play a game? And he was like, oh, well, I'm not really interested right now. So that kind of like deflated me on that. I'll play games with people who have very differing opinions of me, but we hopefully will then like to play the same game. I would do a podcast with someone, but I mean, it would just evolve into an argument. I've offered to do one. One time, Mark Johnson called out he basically said people who play fantasy games as if they essentially need to grow up and play more mature themed games. And I said, can I come on your show and talk about this? And he said, sure. And it never worked out, but I would have loved to have talked some more about that. But I gotta be careful that these things don't devolve into actual real arguments, right? There's some podcasters and videocasters out there who say things that I really highly disagree with. I mean, immensely disagree with. But if I came on, it would just be very argumentative, and I don't know that I want to do that. I did. That's why I had the Dice Tower Showdown, which is kind of fading for now. But I don't know that I want to do it that much. I like to do it for fun. Seriously, it gets a little bit more. Is Defenders of the Realm extremely difficult? My wife and I continuously get slaughtered with wins as rare as in Ghost Stories. If you're playing just the base game of Defenders of the Realm, I've won that more than I've lost it. So I don't think it is actually that difficult. Maybe go online and ask. Maybe you're playing a rule wrong. Sometimes you find that with these games, you're like, it's so hard. It's possible that you've been playing a rule wrong, and so it's not as bad as you thought. Many people here are asking, when are you going to review this? When are you going to review that? We will. As much as we can. It's just I don't have exact dates and stuff. They're on our queue. I think 15 games a week is, I mean, last week I did 16 games. I would hope that that is satisfactory, that we are pumping out the games as fast as we can. We literally cannot go faster. We will get to the games. I'm just saying that because a lot of people say, hey, when are you going to review this? When are you going to review that? When we get to it is essentially the answer for all those. I assume you live in a normal neighborhood. How does your business run at home affect those around you? Well, they don't really know that it is. We're not. I mean, Sam and Z come over and park their cars and come in and we work and then they both leave. And it's not a big deal. No one really thinks anything twice about it. Our neighborhood's pretty quiet during the day anyway. Very quiet. And I shot down to the bottom again. Hello to Pakistan. Any games that you consider a personal house rule requirement? Carcassonne. I always play with 3 tiles and you pick which one you're going to play. Or at the very least, you draw the tile at the end of your turn, not the beginning. So you have a time to look at it. Time travel is tops of your list of themes that hadn't been done right yet. Now that T.I.M.E Stories checked that off, what's a theme that's still looking for a great game? Supermarket. Come on, give me my supermarket shopping game. Or a game that lets players really haggle with each other price-wise. I think that would be an interesting one. In essence, I saw 3 different board game tables. Did you see those, and how do they compare to your Geek Chic table? Well, I did look at 2 of them closely. I found one was slightly inferior to the Geek Chic table. I don't remember the names of the companies, but that one was from Poland. Then I saw one that I thought was heavily superior to the Geek Chic table. That one was from Greece, I believe. That one had a sound system and lights, and then there was another one that also had lights and stuff, and I didn't have a chance to look at the third one. But yeah, I think I'm hoping that Geek Chic gets some competition on this stuff, because the prices, bringing them down would be good for everyone, I think, right? What player count would you recommend for Time Stories? We've been playing with 3, and it's been really, really fun. I could play with 4. 2 would be fine. Some people have a problem. I know that Rado doesn't like doing this, and Z told me he hates doing it too, is when you run 2 characters, he says, because he can't become immersed in his character. I love running multiple characters, and I always have in that sort of setting. Oh, this character's doing that, this character's doing that, because it gives me that diversity. If, I want to do this, I can do that with this character and this or that, but I can see some people wouldn't like that. But I would gladly play it that way. So I'd say 2, 3, or 4 for me would be fine. Will the live show at BGG-Con be broadcast stream live, or will it be a live show recorded and posted next week? It is the latter. We are not. I looked into the cost of streaming at Board Game Geek Con, and the prices, which are from the hotel, not from the BGG folks, but from the hotel, were just astronomical. They were incredibly high, and I said, okay, well, forget that. I would love to have streamed from there. I would have streamed some games and some other things from there. You might see a Periscope or 2 from us there, but you won't see us. You won't see us stream there. We just can't afford to. What did everyone at the Dice Tower do as a career before? Tom, Z, Sam, and Jason. Well, Jason still is working in graphics on TV. Sam and Z and me were all teachers. So that was easy. How do you handle gamers who would rather go through the rulebook themselves rather than be taught the game as you play? I find this typically holds up the entire session in my group. They'd rather go through the rulebook themselves. I would hand them the rulebook and say, for a different game, and say, go learn that one, but we're playing this one now, and I have the rulebook. I'm very cautious. There's a couple people I've played games with who are constantly wanting to see the rule book. And it depends who they are. And I was like, sure, because they're looking up a rule. But there's people who are like especially that first game, I don't want anyone to know I have this card. Like, look, just tell us what card you have. We'll tell you what it does. It's not a big deal. The information in this game is not that secret anyway. Oh, let me see the book. And then they get the book, they read it, then they play the card wrong, and then we're like, you can't play it that way, but the book said, or they sit there for a really long time looking at the rules. Some people just cannot have rule books because not only they will constantly be reading through them, and they're just like sitting there ready to strike. You did this wrong, and I changed the whole game. Here's a rule book, you read it, and invariably these people I found have a very difficult time teaching games too. Rabbit trailed. I don't even know what the question was again. Oh, how do you handle people go through the rule book? I have them play a different game. What do you say to Shut Up and Sit Down's criticism of Time Stories that the choice of scenarios are not that very imaginative? I understand what they're saying because essentially the first three scenarios were horror, which was, it's not Cthulhu, but it's Cthulhu-esque. Horror, zombies, and fantasy. But I don't care because they were that immersive. I haven't played a horror game that was that immersive. And I thought Arkham Horror and Eldritch were very immersive. And yet the Asylum was way more immersive than both of those. The Marcy Case is the best zombie game I've ever played. And the fantasy one, I don't know. But, I mean, they'll be able to make all sorts of different ones. And why would you not pick some big genres that people like and know? They certainly aren't carbon copies of these genres, at least the first two. They are definitely not. I found them very fascinating and intriguing. So I know that they did not like the game, and that's fine. Not everyone's going to like everything. They criticized it for the game purposes. And I don't know. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm just going to say that in my opinion, which is not quite so humble, I think they're very wrong on their final thoughts. But not every game's going to appeal to everybody. But that one definitely appeals to me. Any news on the cruise? The cruise news. We should have a contract this week, hopefully. I heard from them last week. They said next week we'll be ready for the contract. So as soon as I can get that information up, I will put it up. I don't think it will sell out as fast as Dice Tower Con. That'd be cool. I mean, if we start getting that many people, I guess that would be pretty amazing. But I don't think that will happen. But I will announce it before we put it up. Do not fret. We'll let people know, but it will be, I think, December 5th or something. It's in that range of 2016. So at the end of 2016. So basically, I'm giving people a year's heads up. What's your take on pretension in the hobby? There's a trend towards light medium games, but when something as light as Camel Up does well, a lot of gamers are borderline offended at it. So I gotta be careful not to be pretentious about pretentious folks. But there is certainly a whole, well, that game's so light. People are like, why do they make so many light games these days? Because that's what we like. That's what the great unwashed masses, we love that sort of thing. And I like that sort of thing. And I'm enjoying these, and it's always kind of, it rubs me the wrong way when you're sitting there and you're playing your game and someone comes by and goes, huh, well, that's not as good as an 18xx game, but if you're having fun, whatever. Okay, but then I find that myself can do that sort of thing. When someone's playing Munchkin, I'm like, all right, if you guys enjoy that. It's like I gotta be really cautious about that because I can do the same thing that irritates me. So that's why I'm very cautious. Sure, it happens in a hobby. Is it me? I hope not. Would you review Last Spike? It's on my list of things to review. I've never been to Poland, although I would like to be to Poland at some point or other. Do you have any special plans or rewards for the upcoming Dice Tower Kickstarter? I don't have any plans. We're talking about, okay, that's not true. I don't have anything special actually right in mind. We're working on some things. I'm probably going to have some stickers and maybe magnets as part of the Dice Tower. I'm just looking at the pricing of those right now. So those are some things that I'm thinking about having. I'm also looking into promos, and we got some good promos, folks. I mean, like, some make me giggle. That's how happy I am about some of the promos that we got for this year's Kickstarter. So I'm very excited about some of this stuff. You will have to wait and see, but I was not displeased with. That's all I can say right now. But I'm, yeah. All right. What's the Dice Tower Essentials? For people who don't know what that is, it's a line of games that I've had in mind for a while. I talked to Arcane Wonders, and they joined me in this project. They are publishing games that I am finding for them that I think are great, amazing games. There's no other criteria. I just have to think the game is great and amazing, and that it will sell well, obviously. And so the first game in that line has been released, Sheriff of Nottingham. It has done phenomenally well, for which I'm very grateful to both the designer and Arcane Wonders, and to the people who bought it. And the next game is Onitama. That game will be coming out early 2016. It is practically done at this point. 2-player abstract game. Behind that one, there is the City of Gears and Royals. Both of those great fun games. So those will be hopefully both early 2016. There is also another unannounced game that will be coming out pretty much right on our heels. And then another game that will be showing off a little bit at Board Game Geek Con, and I'll be talking about it more in the future. Are you planning more pre-recorded live games? Yes, well, first of all, we were phenomenally happy with how well the last, when Rob and Sam did their their battling brushes thing, we were so happy with how the 2-camera thing worked there. That was just really cool. I didn't know YouTube had that option where you could switch from camera to camera. Really great. We're going to work more on that in the future. But I'm really loving these pre-recorded ones because they let us edit the camera angles a lot and make it look a little bit better. And so far we've done the entire playthrough of Pandemic and one playthrough of Time Stories. We're recording a second playthrough of Time Stories, but you're actually going to see us record several games over as time goes by, and we'll be posting these as we play them because it's just a lot of fun for us to do that. Hello, Josh. Would you agree that board games with campaigns are getting popular? Do you think this will attract the RPG crowd? Yes, I think there's certainly a lot of crossover in that regard. For a while, there was nothing really. There was Hero Quest, and then Descent kind of changed things, and then now there's piles and piles of these adventure-style games, campaign-style games coming out. Maybe almost too many. I don't know that all of them are as well thought through probably as they should be, but it's good to see them, and I think this will bring in a lot of crossover from the RPG. Do you feel that some game companies should build bigger game boxes in order to compensate for future expansion, since it can be hard to fit that extra stuff in the original box? This is certainly one of those you are messed over if you do it, and if you don't do it, same thing, because if you make a big game box and there's just a little bit of game rattling around and you say, but there's room for expansions, people are like, are you kidding me? There's big box with a small game. If you make the box just big enough to fit the game and then there's no room for expansions, people complain. People are going to complain no matter which one you pick. What are your thoughts on the final period after T.I.M.E Stories being absent after the E? Drives me nuts, says Chris, and I see it spelled wrong everywhere. Yeah, I've been spelling it like that in ours because that's the way it's spelled. I don't know why. It drives me nuts a little bit too. Although I feel like there's a reason that's like that. I just feel like there's a reason. As you play T.I.M E Stories, you find out there's a reason they put things. And I'm going to bet you at the end, we're going to find, there's going to come out with a module that's going to use stuff from the different modules, and you'll be like, that's why this happened. You watch. I think that's going to happen. Inhabit the Earth is nothing like Dominant Species. Again, they have very similar themes. But Dominant Species is go out there, crush, attack, win, area control, etc. Worker placement to do that. While Inhabit the Earth is more about molding and making your person the most efficient creature that they can race on different tracks better. I'm being quoted on the Arcadia Quest that it's my 7th favorite game of all time. Yes, that's fine. It is. I really do like that game. Wow, you guys are talking about something I mentioned like half an hour ago, so that's pretty far. Where do you expect Blood Rage to land on BGG once it's released? I'm sure it will end up in the top 100. But I wouldn't wager to know where. I've always been surprised by where things happen. Sweet potato pie, also the devil. Ugh. Ugh. If someone asked you to sign a copy of Phase 10, would you? With a match. Do you still have your copy of Dust Tactics? No, I gave all that stuff. I gave all my Dust Tactics stuff to Sam because I figured it was a game that he and his boys would really enjoy. Also, he likes painting miniatures. Also, another game with miniatures that were already put together. Huzzah! Given the great quality of minis and board games these days, do you have any intention of expanding Dice Tower content to include more miniatures painting? No, I'm pretty happy with where it's at. We don't want to overwhelm the channel with it. Rob and Sam have their series going, and that's fine enough for me. I'm not here to, we're not turning this into some miniatures channel and everything, so that's kind of like where I would want that to be. Like if someone wanted to do something about deck building, I would probably run a series on that too. But we got to keep it focused where we're at. We're looking at the general board gaming market, and so board gamers might want to paint miniatures, so that's that. We're not here for miniature gamers per se. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Have you ever been recognized while doing the groceries? I don't, maybe. It's not a big deal. It may have happened a couple times. It's not a big deal. Am I coming up to Canada ever? Well, I plan to visit Canada next spring. I'm going to the Gathering of Friends, which is in Buffalo, New York, and I will try to cross the border. I've been invited to go up to Toronto to watch a game of the greatest baseball team ever, the Blue Jays, and maybe I would like to visit the Snakes and Lattes cafe there. So I would certainly love to go to Canada. I've been to Canada across the border, Niagara Falls, but that doesn't count, I'm sure. Who's your favorite Doctor from Doctor Who? Oh, David Tennant, easily for me. I like Matt Smith, but David Tennant is my favorite. And what's your favorite episode? Either Blink or the finale for David Tennant. But that's because I like things that are wrapped up in a neat bow. I really do. Wish more TV shows would do that. The best way to pick up HeroScape minis without paying out the nose, Craigslist, I found, is a good way to hunt them down. or just finding them at a yard sale. Have you had any overly enthusiastic fans go a bit too far? Follow you around, send you stuff? I don't think so, unless you want to count Jason. I'm not inviting stalkers. I don't think such a thing. We're not popular enough. I'm certainly not handsome enough. There would be no reason for anyone to do such a thing. Does it concern you that most publishers are focusing on too many projects at the same time and not putting enough effort towards 1 or 2 games at a time? I don't know that that would be something I would say most publishers are doing. I think a few publishers are doing that. You know, that's pretty obvious, the publishers that are just like fire hosing game ideas and game things out there. But I found that most publishers work on a few games at a time and work really hard to make those games well. Is Final Fantasy Tactics still my favorite video game? It is indeed. It is a great game. Do you feel that board game themes are going to keep getting darker, grittier, mature, and continue to push the limits of accessibility? I don't acceptability. I don't think that's necessarily like board games are getting darker. I think what you mean is there are more board games now, so it's because there are so many board games out there. They are now hitting pretty much all the different themes. So if you don't like these darker, grittier themes, it doesn't matter because there's thousands that come out each year that do not have these themes. This person says, my friends group is all very addicted to games to the point of constantly talking about other games while playing games. Is this normal? As far as I can tell, yes, it is. How can I keep it under control? I don't think they can. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I like to talk about games. Okay. Once again, we jumped all the way down to the bottom, and once again, I find how far behind I am. So I'm going to start skipping and looking for questions to find things here. Am I going to be at the Rock tomorrow? I will not be, because we are going to Board Game Geek tomorrow morning. What game will you be playing on Christmas? I don't know if I'll play any game on Christmas. Christmas is just one of those days where I sit there in the middle of my kids and just watch them have fun. Maybe we'll play a game. Maybe. But I don't think so. They really enjoy it. That's just, I don't know, that's just a day where I just want to sit in the middle of chaos, look around me, and that's one of those days that I'm so glad that I have a pile of kids, because Christmases are amazing. Predaporter is getting a reprint with a different theme. I do know about that. Any idea on the new theme? I do know what the new theme is. Oh, the new theme is great. Unfortunately, if I recall correctly, I am not supposed to tell anyone what the new theme is yet, but it's great. What's my favorite Disney film? That one is actually too difficult for me to answer, if only because I have no idea what films are Disney and which ones aren't off the top of my head. I mean, probably Avengers too. Yeah, Avengers probably, or Guardians of the Galaxy. But I mean, I think you mean Disney animated feature, and then I would say probably Monsters Incorporated. But you say, we're not talking about Pixar. Okay, well, if you take Pixar out of the deal, then Beauty and the Beast. What kind of fiction do you read? Does it ever happen to relate to games? No, I don't know why. I'm not really interested if my fiction matches my games. I just want fiction to be fascinating. My favorite kind of fiction is science fiction, but more than science fiction, I love speculative fiction. I love science fiction where something has happened that changes the entire world somehow. Like now, TVs let you see the future by a day. How does that change the world? That sort of thing is intriguing to me. I like that sort of thing a lot. I like especially global perspectives on things, not just a bunch of kids trapped in an alley somewhere. I just find that sort of time travel always intrigues me. So that's what I like to read. I like fantasy, but I like sci-fi a little bit better, I think. I just downloaded, I went and looked for I looked up the top 10 science fiction novels of the year, and I found one, and I cannot remember what it's called. And I read the first couple chapters, and I'm really struggling because the author wrote the entire book in the present tense. And I guess that's not a bad thing, but it just bugs me. It's like, oh, stop writing in the present tense. I don't know why. So I'm going to probably hunt down another book. I'm probably going to stop reading it. I think it bothers me that much, just because I just can't ever not think about it. It's like someone whistling the whole time you're reading a book. It's like, well, why are you doing that? What's a polite way to move on getting a great demo of a game at a con when you realize it's not a game for you? I do my best to make sure that they know at the very beginning that I'm only going to be there for a short while. And then if I love the game, I might say, oh, well, can I stick around a little bit longer? I'm really liking this game. But if not, I apologize, but I got to keep moving on. I mean, do that. I always do that. I do that, though. And if you've demoed a game and you're like, he said that to me. I do that even in games I find interesting. But for me, personally, I don't often demo games because I would rather learn what they are from the rules. Before that, I would just go in and say, I can only be here a very short time, because if the game is bad, then you're good. And if the game is good, still you got a good taste of a good game. What game have you played that made you the most angry? Probably Risk 2210. Yeah. Let's see here. I see other people here answering questions for me. Thanks. I don't have to answer any questions then if other people are going to do it. Are the other games in the Dice Tower Essentials line redesigns of the original game? No, not really. Some of them are actually original games, and you'll see that coming hopefully this year. What's my favorite Godzilla movie? I've only ever seen the American-made Godzilla movies, and I wasn't very impressed with either one of them. I thought that the Matthew Broderick one, there's a lot of moments in it that I really enjoyed. I liked a lot of the scenes and things in it, but I couldn't get past the acting in it. Was just, I thought, really bad almost across the board. And then the second one, the newest one that just came out, is a pretty cool Godzilla movie, I guess. I just wish that I had known what the plot was, kind of. It just, and also, I didn't think the acting was that fantastic in that one either. It was because it was like barely there. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't feel any kind of emotional connection to it. And also, why can't I not see the monsters fighting half the time? Why do I only have to see bits and pieces of them? They're gigantic monsters. I would see them all the time. The Jarl or the Duke? It's a tough one. I think I would go with Duke over Jarl. Probably. My favorite ship from the X-Wing miniatures game is still currently the A-Wing. I really enjoyed that one. Will we do a pre-record of Cosmic Encounter? That will probably happen at some point in time. Do you, Sam, Jason, and Z have nicknames for each other? I don't think so. I think we just call each other by our names. I don't I don't think so. I call Sam, Z, Jason, yeah. Sometimes I call Jason Levine, but not, yeah. Guess we don't really have nicknames. I guess we're not cool like that. Will we have a base of operations at BGGCon, or will you just be roaming? We will just be roaming, and hopefully, we'll be scattered probably. I told the guys we play games with each other all the time, so, I mean, except Eric. I mean, I don't play games with Eric very often, so if he is around and able to play games with, I will do so. But I was talking to Jason's like, why are we going to play games? Like, Jason, go play games with other people. We play games all the time together here, so at a convention, it's our chance to go and play with other people. I plan to play games with people I've never played before. I also plan to play Rodney Smith and beat the snot out of him. Rodney, I'm bringing Kemet. We will have a rematch, and you are going down because that's just the way things have to be. I've already prepped it. I'm excited about it. It's going to happen, I hope. But if you guys see me, you can play a game with me. Now, just realize if you play a game with me at that Board Game Geek Con and you're there, the chances of you playing a new game that I'm learning the rules to are high. And there's, let's say, a 40% chance it's not a good game. Who knows? But it'll be a fun experience. Or you can just keep walking by my table. That happens a lot at Board Game Geek Con more than any other convention anyway. What's my favorite hat that's from a random local mom and pop shop? Even if the place not really local to you, but not a big business? I don't really understand that question. I just like hats. We went to, my family went out to Bubba Gump's on Saturday, and I really thought about buying a Bubba Gump's hat because I've always liked that name, and it's like my family is like our favorite restaurant, I think, Bubba Gump's. As a whole, the family just really likes that restaurant. Will I be reviewing the new Haba family games? Why, yes, I very much will be. And it looks like I'm almost out of time, so I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, which means I skipped a lot of questions. I apologize for that. So let's see here. Do we have a play group where you gang up on one player every single time? I don't think so. I mean, we sometimes gang up on Jason. I don't think it really matters. He seems to win so many games. The way people get attacked in our games is usually it's Jason, Tom, Z, Sam. I don't know why it is, but that is the methodology for attacking different people in games, I think. That's the rate that people get attacked. I wonder why that is. Yeah, we're not pre-recording Twilight Imperium. I don't know if I have enough camera time for that one. Other than Indiana Jones, what's the best hat in a movie? I believe, friends, that would be Dick Tracy's hat. Or The Mask. I like his hat also. You realize you have sorry sliders on top of a Grail game? What? Who cares? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking on the wrong side here. Sorry sliders on top of the Star Wars Queen's Gambit? They're both games. They're both fun. It took me your whole Q&A to get Caverna's stuff out of the box into sacks. Yes. Yes, I certainly can understand that. Let's see more questions here before I jump off. My favorite Feld? I think my favorite Feld is Bruges. I like Bruges, and I still have it in my collection. People are telling me where to eat when I'm in Dallas. That's possible, but I believe I'm going to the Heart 8 for sure. Any other place? There's also a chicken place that I want to go to. I forget what it's called. That was amazing. But wherever we go, I want to make sure that it's not too far from the convention center. Would you ever come to the UK to do a board game convention? You were not there at the beginning of this one. We are coming for the UK Gaming Expo. I'm very excited to be able to come for that. And Suzanne's recent review was really good. Will we see more from her? We will probably see more from Suzanne in the future. She's not going to be able to do reviews for me for a couple months, or at least a month or so, but hopefully we'll see more from her as time goes by. Oh, Babe's Chicken. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, folks. I really appreciate, again, people watching this, and I'm sorry that I was a couple minutes late, so hopefully me going a couple minutes overtime helps. If you're going to be at Board Game Geek Con, I hope to see you there, and I hope that we have a good time. As I always say to people, come by and say hello to us. That certainly doesn't bother me at all. If I didn't want people to say hi to me, I'll just go sit in my hotel room. So say hi. It's not that many people at Board Game Geek-Con. I think it's, what, 2,400? So the chance of us running into each other is high, especially since I'll be wearing probably my red or yellow hats to be easy to see. If you have a chance, come to our show. It's at 5 o'clock on Friday. A live board game breakfast. I think that will be a lot of fun. I hope so. So thank you guys again for watching this show, for answering our questions. You won't see, this is the last video I'm putting up this week, so this week will be kind of a dead week on our Dice Tower video, but we have plenty of stuff on the burner for you to go back and watch. Anyhow, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Live Question and Answer Time with the Dice Tower.